which is very weird that they named the episode Dreamweaver because this episode was not about Dreamer. I mean, it did have some Dreamer aspects in it, but it really wasn't about Dreamer. So we'll get to Dreamer in the end. So this episode actually starts with Kelly. And Kelly's back, and she's doing her social work thing. They talked about how Lena's still not here. Like, she went to go look for her mom, and, well, information about her mom, and how Brady went to go take Kara's dad back to Argo. So that explains why the two of them aren't there. So Kelly's back into the fold now. And they're talking about her new job, where she has a job as a social worker. And she's going around helping alien children. She's, doing caseworks on alien children. And there's one boy specifically that she's going to where he was kind of like acting out or like having like behavioral issues because he was worried about his brother who was locked up in prison. So Kelly goes down, she talks to the boy, and then the boy lets him know that, he's like, I'm scared for my brother because my brother was on a work release program and he's using his powers too much. And because he's using his power, it's killing him and he's afraid that his brother's going to die. Now, Kelly thought that was weird because when you're in the work release program, you're not supposed to use your powers. Plus, the criminal, the brother, the brother, his powers are EMP based. Even Alex said, she was just like, well, if he has EMP powers and if he's in a work release program, why does he need EMP powers in a work release program? So the Super Friends decide to go down there and investigate the situation. John actually was investigating a string of armored car robberies and different various robberies throughout the city. But there wasn't really a connection at that point. So Kara and Kelly, they end up going down to, to the prison to go speak to the warden. The warden talked about the release program and he was just like, oh, it's the greatest program of all time and everybody's doing well and they're going to be normal members of society. So then, Supergirl being Supergirl, they sneak around back to go check on the inmates, to go check on the people who are in this work release program. And they're all kind of like chained up, chain gang style. And none of them seemed happy. They all seemed tired, and they all seemed like they've been running to the ground. So, Kara continues to follow them further. And then when Kara goes, they fought because they all got this one officer. He put all of them in an armored truck, and they drove off. Kara follows them down to where the truck went, and then when she follows the truck and gets to where the truck is, then John shows up, and John was like, "Yo, I was investigating the armed robberies, and it led me here." So now the two of them are together, and they find out that the correction officer, he was forcing the prisoners to use their powers to steal things for him. So now they know that the prison system, surprise, surprise, the prison system and the work release program more specifically is corrupt. And again, these aliens are being forced to use their powers to steal things. So Kara and Jean, they break up the whole thing. And then this big explosion happens, the prisoners put up a fight. And then after the explosion happens, the prisoners disappear. I think because one of them had the ability to be able to camouflage. So the prisoners disappear, the officer disappears, and then they're all gone. So now the warden's kind of throwing everybody under the bus because first of all, the prisoners were being held at gunpoint and they were being forced to do all the stuff at gunpoint. But now the warden's just oh, these escaped convicts, they kidnapped a corrections officer and they will be brought to justice. So Kara's I'm calling bullshit because, there's definitely corruption there. Kara goes down to talk to the warden again, and then she's like, there's corruption within the work release program. And then he was like, woman, drop it. He was just like, oh, don't investigate. So now she's really going to think, something's going on. So now they're just like, all right, we got to figure out what's going on. Kelly goes back to the foster home because, the little brother, he was in a foster home that this white lady was running. So when Kelly goes back to the foster home to go check on the kid, she sees that the woman in charge of the foster home, she's using meta dampening cuffs on the children, and then she's pressing the button to shock them, to weaken them, because the little boy was acting out because he knew his brother was in danger. And then Kelly was just like, oh, you're abusing these children and they don't deserve this. And then she's just like, oh, I gotta do what I gotta do. And she was like, what are you gonna do about it, Kelly? And then Kelly gets mad. She ends up going home. She puts on the all black, gets on the motorcycle. I don't know why she had to get on a motorcycle, but she gets on the motorcycle, and then she goes and she downloads the security footage from the house, and she downloaded footage of this woman abusing these kids. She had a lot of footage of this woman abusing these kids. And then she takes all that footage and then she sends the footage, to the woman's supervisor. And then the cops show up and then they arrest the woman, and then, they save the children. Kelly shows up, she tells the little boy, everything will be okay. She's like, I'm here for you. And then another little girl said, thank you for saving us, because she said that this foster home needed a guardian. Haha. So, so then Supergirl, so while all this is going on though, Andrea Rojas, she ends up telling, William, Kara, and Dreamer that she still wants a report. She still wants an interview with one of the Super Friends. So she's just like, oh, get me that interview with the Super Friends. Otherwise, you go look for new jobs. And then Kara wasn't really feeling it because, one, she's Supergirl. And two, she was like, yo, we got more important things to worry about. Like, there's kids out here getting, there's kids out here suffering on the streets. And you worried about some damn article. But Andrea Rojas is the boss, so you got to do what the boss says. So Supergirl and the gang, they find out that what they're stealing are items and materials to make a dirty bomb. And then they also find out that the Warden is on the take and someone's paying the Warden to use these criminals to steal this stuff to make the dirty bomb. And then the word intergang came up and I said, oh boy, because intergang, it's the gang of intergalactic. I believe they're from Apocalypse, like intergalactic, like thieves or whatever. Like basically, like it's they're alien. There's Apocalypse tie-ins and intergang. Like if you watch Young Justice, they fought intergang in the episode where Superboy, where first got the super cycle, where the spear turned into the super cycle. So, like I said, like there's a like we talk an intergang, like there's a bigger force at play, and I'd like to see that come to fruition when it finally happens. So very interested in the inner gang situation. So then after that, so the Supergirl and Jean, like they go down there, they end up stopping the corrupt correction officer, and then they end up talking to the criminals. They're just like, listen, like we know we got you. We understand that you're being forced to do this. Don't worry about it. But then they try to run. They're just like, oh, we don't trust you because we don't trust the system. And then Kara was like, I understand, like the system failed you, but she said, but I'm Supergirl. She's like, I got your back. She said, like when I speak, people listen, and I'll do everything in my power to to help you guys out. So they and obviously everybody listens to Supergirl, especially when Supergirl gives you the speech. So they let their guard down, and then they come back quietly with Supergirl. So now, just to shed Andrea up, Supergirl ended up calling William and had and the whole purpose of it was to kill two birds with one stone. It was to give William an interview with the Super Friends, so again Andrea would shut up about it, and two, because the whole thing with the prisoners being forced to pull off those heinous acts and to do all that thievery, she wanted that story to be told, and she wanted that story to come to light. So she did the interview with William live at the scene of the warehouse, where Kara talked about the corruption with the Warden, the corruption with the correction officers, and she actually did shed light on it. And because of that, the brother and the rest of the inmates who were being forced to do the stealing, they got pardoned by the judge because what happened to them wasn't right. They got pardoned, and then both brothers ended up reuniting, and then like the older brother ended up reuniting with his younger brother, and the two of them got to go home together. And then that's when Kelly got all emotional and she felt all happy about it. Andrea was happy because she got her story, and then William even told Kara, he was just like, he said he was like I don't want to admit it, but Andrea actually has a point. He said it's not so much us chasing the Super Friends to get a story from the Super Friends, but he said that but when superheroes talk, when Supergirl talks, people listen, and if we can use them to get the correct message out there, then I don't see anything wrong with that. So now Kara's got some things to think about because he does have a point, and thanks to her doing that interview, some light did get shed, and they ended up saving a bunch of lives. Kelly then goes home, and then she talks to Alex about how she got the woman in charge of of the foster home. She got her taken away, and those kids are gonna have like new management or like a new person in that's gonna take care of them, a new director. And then she said that she felt like she felt alive, and she felt like she was making a difference. And then she told Alex, she was just like, oh, I think I need to pick up where Jimmy left off. And she's like, I want to become the new Guardian. And I was surprised Kelly told Alex that, because I thought Kelly would just suit up and just do it behind Alex's back. And I was even more surprised that when she told her she wanted to be the new Guardian, Alex was like, yeah, I basically knew this was coming. Because Alex said when she saw her in Crisis, because there was the scene in Crisis when they were trying to get people off world, Kelly used her shield to protect people when debris was falling. And then Alex said then, she was like, yeah, I knew. She said ever since that day, she's like, yeah, I knew this day was coming. So she said she called James, and James actually sent Alex the Guardian costume, and Alex gave it to Kelly. And I was just like, well, this is very mature of everybody because the way Alex acts when it comes to Kara, and she's like, oh, Kara, my sister, my sister, my sister. I'm like, if Alex acts that way regarding Kara, she gonna lose her shit when Kelly starts hitting them streets. But then Alex was just, Kelly, when she gave her the costume, Kelly was just like, oh, I love you so much, Alex. And then Alex was like, Alex was like, you won't love me when the training starts. But my whole thing is, Kelly was in the army. Like, she served in the army. She was a doctor. Not only was she a doctor in the army, but she was an active combatant. Like, Kelly knows how to fight. Like, Kelly has military training. Like, Kelly has fighting combat military training. So Kelly knows how to fight. But, I mean, I don't know. Because we never actually saw Kelly do the military training, I guess her training with Alex is so the public can feel more better about her being out in the field when she does it. But again, let's just remember, people, because I know a lot of people are going to be like, oh, she decided to be Guardian, and then she took one kickboxing class with Alex, and now all of a sudden she's a kick-ass superhero. Remember, people, she was in the Army and had Army combat training before all this happened. So the girl knows what she's doing. And I'm looking forward to that. I want to see the training between the two of them. I want to see like the training montage, and and with the Guardian costume. And when we already saw the picture, we saw the photo. The Guardian costume, she actually put the color on it, so I want to see that as well. And I want to see where the braids come in, because apparently she's gonna have braids, and that's gonna be fire. So that was it for that whole storyline. Now, regarding Dreamer, she kept having dreams where she was going to the dream world, and she kept seeing her mom. And then, due to her desperation, for some reason, Miss Pitalik, she was in the dream world as well. And then she told Dreamer, she was like, oh, I've been trapped here, and I need to get out. But she was like, I need your help, Dreamer, to get me out. And in return, I'll bring your mother back from the dead for 24 hours. And then, but due to Dreamer's desperation and want to see her mom, she kind of bit into the whole thing. But then, like, there was an owl in the dream world, which I think, I kind of feel like the owl was her mom. There was an owl in the dream world that kept telling Dreamer, like, don't do it, like the wise, seeks knowledge from thyself. They don't seek the truth from others. And then the owl kept attacking Mixie and trying to stop Dreamer from falling for the bait. But in the end, Dreamer was so desperate to see her mom, like the want to see her mom at least for 24 hours was so great. At the end of the episode, she blasted the owl, which that's going to come back to bite her in the ass. She blasted the owl, and then she told Mixie, she was like, fine, I'll help you I'll help you get your power back. I'll get you out of here, and then you bring my mother back. And obviously Mixie's going to double cross her, and then Dreamer's going to be the one responsible for the destruction of the world in the end of the season. Brainy's going to have something to do with that when he comes back, as far as like pulling her out of it, because with Brainy gone, like the girl mind just turned into jello, and like I don't know what Dreamer doing right now. And the thing that's crazy about it, Dreamer knows that every single thing she's doing is 100% wrong, which is why I was disappointed in Dreamer in this episode, because it's like, you're not that stupid. And that's the thing, like the thing about, when anybody loses a loved one, although she knows what she's doing is 100% wrong, sometimes like your desperation and your grief to see someone, not even someone that's dead, whether it's like just someone that you're no longer in contact with, somebody that you lost, like anything, when people get that emotionally desperate, they do tend to shove their morals to the side. But like I said, this is going to come back to bite Dreamer and the world in the ass in the end. So we'll see what happens. And thank you for tuning in. So a lot of interesting things is happening. Some seeds have been planted. Inner Gang is coming. We got Kelly, taking over as Guardian now, and then Dreamer's about to screw up the entire world. So we'll see how all this unfolds, because I also saw the trailer. There was like a promotional poster or something where like Supergirl's getting a 2-hour series finale, and I believe that takes place in October, the week of Comic-Con, if I'm not mistaken. So, we're going to be reviewing Supergirl for the entire month of September. And if this is episode 9, and this is already September 1st, that means we're only getting 13 episodes, like maybe 13, 14, 15 max, 15 episodes for the final season of Supergirl. And we'll close this bad boy out, and I'm not ready for it to end, but we'll see what happens, because there are crossovers coming up, because we got the Flash crossover, and hopefully some characters from Supergirl will be in that as well. So like I said, thanks for tuning in. Leave your questions, comments, and or concerns down below. Hit the notification bell so you get notified when I got other videos, like my Legends of Tomorrow season finale review, my Titans reviews, my Marvel's What If reviews, and Stargirl. Also, Doom Patrol is coming out pretty soon, so we're going to do that Doom Patrol as well. Always check me out on Twitter, check me out on Instagram, and like I said, hit me up on YouTube. Leave your questions down below, and I'll answer them as soon as I can, because there's a lot of stuff we doing, and I'm trying to get it all of it. So thanks, guys. Up and away as always. Until next week, for the Girl of Steel, take care, and I'm up this.